So clearly I haven't sat down to record a video in a substantial amount of time. But I guess leave it to some Spider-Man news to bring a man out of retirement. Anyway, so for those of you that haven't heard, today being January 13th of 2020, Sony finally released a trailer for Morbius, which they've had this movie and a variety of Spider-Verse movies announced for quite some time now, and this is the first time we've actually seen anything about it. Nobody's talking about the movie. Literally, nobody has anything to say about the movie itself. The discussion centered around some pretty interesting implications for the, I guess I'll just start calling it the Sony Spider-Verse, like the live-action Spider-Verse, not the animated one that everybody actually liked. If you've been on Twitter at all for the last several months, there's been a lot of discussion about the rights for Spider-Man, specifically the movie rights and where they were going. If the MCU Spidey films were continuing, if he would continue to be a part of the MCU, blah, blah. A lot of that stuff is meant for a completely different video and was likely meant for a video several, months ago at this point. All that aside, it's just confusing at this point, and I think that's what a lot of people's concerns are, because there's a lot of speculation floating around. I haven't seen any actual sources, but there's been a couple of tweets that have been circulating around talking about, well, yeah, technically it's influenced by the MCU events, and that's pretty clear just from the trailer itself. There's a lot of talk about if the MCU is actually affecting Sony's universe, but the Sony universe has no impact on the MCU. But then there's also people saying that yes, Sony's universe will impact the MCU, but it'll only impact the MCU within Spider-Man's movies. There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be sorted out, and obviously we don't have any kind of direct answer because, they keep this shit pretty close to the vest. Clearly, considering they haven't said anything about it up to this point. The reason I'm making this video, though, aside from it just being kind of like a New Year's resolution thing for me, this whole thing just feels... This whole thing, specifically with the context of the whole conflict over Spider-Man's movie rights, just feels really, really, orchestrated, and I don't know how I feel about that. Back when the whole Spider-Man right debacle thing was going on, me and a lot of friends were kind of just, joking around, being like, what if this is just a stunt to make it so they can tie Venom into, the MCU and then try to bring Spider-Man over into the, balance it out? And we were just completely fucking around making jokes, but now I'm honestly not sure. I'm not here to give you the full trailer breakdown. I'm honestly just here to talk about 2 or 3 things that caught my attention, that caught everybody's attention. The fact that not just within the trailer itself, but the actual credits of the trailer are talking about from the creators of Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home and Venom. And we've all known, right, that they had hands within the MCU Spider-Man movies. We know they're the ones that made them. This is the first time they've been open about the fact, and the fact that they're tying their relation to Homecoming and Far From Home to Venom, and the fact that they're bringing Michael Keaton back as Vulture, the fact that they couldn't... I refuse to believe that this was something they decided to do just within the last couple of months, and all of a sudden they rewrote everything to feature MCU characters and to slather up, alleyways with posters about Spider-Man being a murderer, which is directly tied to Far From Home's ending, blah, blah, blah. And not to put on my tinfoil hat, but, dude, what else are you supposed to take away from this? I don't understand. And the reason I say that, this couldn't have just been something that they did suddenly, we've known about plans for a Sinister Six movie for years now. This just feels like it was a way to, step toward that and have a sort of balance between, the very vocal majority that likes the MCU Spidey and the people who don't. I don't know what this is exactly. I can't wrap my head around the whole thing because I'm obviously not a Sony representative or anybody that was involved in any of that shit. It just makes me feel like we all got played. I guess that's the main thing I'm trying to say. I don't know. That's just how I'm taking it at this point. That's how I'm feeling. So this is just something to think about. That's all I really intended with this video. That's the whole reason I'm making it, that, and I just wanted to make some shit. So yeah, we'll go with that. I don't know, man. I was just sitting here thinking about it way too hard, and I realized this is a decent way to be able to word myself aside from just making another fucking Twitter thread. This is happening. It's interesting. There's some discussion to be had, and I feel like talking about it, and that's really all this video is. So I guess I'll just kind of cut it short there. follow me on Twitch, I guess. I'm live there sometimes, so I mean, hey, why not? My Twitter's still there. It's always going to be there. I talk a lot more there than I do on anything else, so slide over there if you'd like. Yeah, I guess I'll just catch y'all later. Peace out.